Okay, today we're going to be putting together all of the things we've been working on so far in order to solve kind of complex quadratic equations. You're going to need to use everything you've learned up to this point to be able to solve it, but if you've been diligently doing the lessons, it's not going to be too bad. So here are the steps for solving any of the quadratic equations we'll look at today. Step 1. Step 1, we want to set our equation equal to 0. We did this a couple days ago when we talked about graphing our equations in order to be able to see the solutions. We had to set the equations equal to 0 in order to graph them on Desmos. So setting the equation equal to 0 is step 1. Step 2 is factoring the equation. My bad. Once we factor it, we can go to step 3 to use the zero product property to find solutions. 3 steps. It's going to work every time. Okay, this first one, x squared minus 2x minus 6 equals 9. We need to find the solutions for this equation. It can have 0, 1, or 2 solutions. Let's take a look. First step, step number 1, we need to set the equation equal to 0. Right now, it's not equal to 0. It's equal to 9. And that's going to give us some problems. We need to get rid of that 9 so that the whole equation can be equal to 0. So we're going to use our favorite algebra trick and just subtract 9 from both sides. So let's rewrite our equation taking this into consideration. So the negative 9s are going to cancel out, leaving us with a 0. And we're going to be left with, on the left side, x squared minus 2x minus 15. Now we need to use the tricks we learned last time in the last couple lessons to factor out this equation. I need to find two numbers whose product is negative 15 and whose sum is negative 2. So I'm going to do a little aside right here. We need to find numbers that multiply to negative 15 and add up to negative 2. So we could have like negative 1 and 15, negative 3 and 5. Then we can go the other way, right? We could have like negative 5 and 3 and negative 15 and 1. I think those are all the factors that we can consider. All of these, when I multiply them, negative 1 times 15 is negative 15. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. And negative 15 times 1 is negative 15. So all of those work for the product side of this. We need to find the pair of them that adds up to negative 2. So if it's a negative, I know I'm going to need a larger negative number. It looks like my solution is this one, negative 5 plus 3. Let's see if it works. I'm going to make my two factors, get this outlined in my head. We're going to have an x and an x. Minus 5 plus 3 equals 0. Let's see if it actually works. I'm going to go to another slide and we're going to use the rectangle diagram to double check our work. All right, here's our rectangle diagram. We've got x minus 5, x plus 3. So we have x squared, negative 5x, 3x, and negative 15. All right, let's write them out and simplify. We're going to write out the entire standard form equation. Now we can combine these common terms because they both have a single x. So we have x squared minus 2x minus 15. This was the equation we started with, and this is the equation that our factored form gave us. Looks like we were successful. So again, here are our steps. We want to, all right, step 1, we want to set the equation equal to 0, right? We subtracted 9 from both sides. We want to factor the equation, finding two numbers whose product is the constant term and whose sum is the linear term. Then we want to use the zero product property to find the solutions. So we're going to set each of those factors equal to 0 and go from there. We actually forgot to do that in this one. Let's go back and finish this real fast. So we're going to set x minus 5 equals 0. So my first solution is x equals positive 5. And for this one, we're going to set x plus 3 equals 0. So solving for x, we get x equals negative 3. So these are my two solutions, x equals 5 and x equals negative 3. All right, let's go do one more using our 3 steps. So step number 1, set the equation equal to 0. Let's add 12 to both sides, set it equal to 0. So those are going to cancel out, and we're going to get a new equation. X squared plus 9x plus 20 equals 0. We have set our equation equal to 0. All right, now we need to factor the equation. Some of you might be tempted to factor the original equation, but remember, we need to set it equal to 0 first. This is an important step. If you don't set it equal to 0, everything you do afterwards is going to have problems in it. So we need to find two numbers who multiply to equal 20 and add up to equal 9. Let's do a little factoring of 20 right here. Got 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3 doesn't multiply by anything, 4 times 5, then it looks like we're going to start going back down again, just the opposites. It looks to me like either of these would work, 5 and 4 or 4 and 5. 4 times 5 is 20, and 4 plus 5 is 9. So here are my factors. We have x plus 4 and x plus 5 equals 0. Because it equals 0, we can now use the zero product property to find my solutions. We have x plus 4 equals 0. Solving for x, we get x equals negative 4. This is one of my solutions. For the other factor, we have x plus 5 equals 0. So solving for x, we find the second solution is x equals negative 5. This solution, or this equation, has two solutions. And we're good to go. We did all 3 steps. We were able to find the solutions. Make sure that you are following and doing each of these 3 steps for every problem. Set the equation equal to 0, factor the equation, then use the zero product property to find the solutions.